Welcome all to the first of a new series of What's in My Shed. My name's Ian. I have lots of interests, many of them geeky. One of my biggest interests, as we're about to see, is vintage radio controlled cars. So I went through a phase of buying these, probably 15 to 20 years ago, back when eBay was small. And these things were much more of a hobby than they are nowadays, when many people are very interested in them and want to collect them, which is great. So what I want to do is gradually go through each of the ones I've got in my collection. They are always in their box, brand new, unbuilt. So we're going to look at the kit in a little bit more detail. And we're going to see if we can look at some kits that are a little bit different. Not many of them out there. So the first one today is from a British company called Mardave. Spin it around so we get the right side. Mardave, as I just said, were a British company, they still exist, who made radio control cars that were slightly on the cheaper end of the scale. When I first got into RC, my first car was a Hornet, a Carrier Hornet, that my amazing parents got for me one Christmas, completely out of the blue, and I built it and just fell in love. It's the only situation that I've ever been in where I actually started a trend at my school where my mates all started getting into RC and racing and all the rest of it. Yeah, me. So I was kind of quite proud of that, which is a bit sad really, because that's the best thing I've got to be proud of at school when it comes to being, in inverted commas, trendy. Then, well, shows you how deeply, meaningfully untrendy I was and still am. But anyway, enough about me. So this is a Mardave Marauder. It was at the time the least expensive nitro based car on the market. Nitro being, it's got basically like a single cylinder petrol engine in it. Let's take the lid off. Let's have a look. Well, no, first of all, we'll have a look at what the sides have got on them. So, features a strong dual chassis, fully independent suspension, comprising double wishbones and coil springs at the front and single wishbones and coil springs at the rear. Needle roller centrifugal clutch unit, inline engine position, driving through hardened steel bevel gears. Well, who knew? With roll bars and ABS body and all the other interesting things. So, let's have a look at some pictures. So that's a built version, as we can see there. Same stuff really, just a different picture. So let's get the lid off and let's take a squiz inside. So this is, or was going to be, a 1/8 scale kit. So when built it would be slightly bigger than the normal 1/10 scale builds that you generally know and love, and I did at the time as well. So this is an 1/8 scale. So we've got the instructions here, nicely put to one side, in a little bag, and then we've got the actual kit itself. So let's see, make sure we've got this in the right place so that we can see what we're doing. So let's take a squiz at the kit. Take the bits and pieces out and then go through them bit by bit. So we'll look at what's under there in a minute. First of all, we've got the metal chassis. So really high tech, as we can see. High tech steel with some holes drilled in it and some edges on it as well. Ouch. So that would be the front. This would be the rear. We've got a hatch there, which we'll see in a minute what that's designed to do. The engine would normally sit about here, obviously the rear gearbox here, and so on and so on. This is probably going to be the box that so this is the body box. This is where you keep the electronics. And we've got some side panels on here that would go on the body, just to make it, dress it up and look a bit better. So then let's look at how this would go together. See, it would fit together basically like that. So that's what our kit would look like. Got some wheels here. Put those to one side. Take a closer look in. So under this hatch, this is where we've got the rest of the kit. So turn this around. Rubber tyres. Well, I've got to say, I'm impressed. Oh, I was about to say they haven't got that white disease that a lot of older tyres do have, but it looks like it is on the way with some of them. Never quite worked out what causes that. It's a strange thing, but it's fairly common on older kits. Put those to one side. What else have we got in here? So we've got some suspension bits here. I think this will be the servo saver, probably. Front suspension block. Not much to say about these. Screws and bolts. I wonder, does this thing even have a differential? Ah, yes it does. So that's the rear gearbox. Oh, does it? Well, that's a good point. So we've got a... Now, I would imagine the engine probably sits here. So I don't know if this does have a rear differential. So suspension arms. Rear suspension arms. Fuel tank. Assorted bits and pieces. Oh, and then the original engine. Ooh. So this is an Irvine engine that was included with the kit. So let's put that down there. Oh, look at that. Very nice. Very nice. So, single cylinder with a glow plug at the top there. This would have bolted on the side there to be stick out of the body to be the exhaust pipe. This would have been mounted on the chassis and driven that basically. All of this kit is getting a bit oily now. All of this kit is completely unused, brand new. Amazing to find it, to be fair. As you can see there, that's as far as carburetors go. What we've got there is, you see, so that's a pin that pulls out and goes back in. The air is drawn in through there. And then this is the control. This is effectively the accelerator, the throttle. So you get fuel pulled in there, I beg your pardon. Mixture there, pulled in there. Metered out in here using this little pulley device here, this needle. And then I want to say injected, but it's not injected. It's it's put into the engine. Sits on there like that. Screwed on using these little screws here to hold it in place. And yeah, there it goes. So if I just move this out of the way, can see here, we've got those 4 holes. So the engine would be basically on that. So there'll be some kind of block for this to sit on somewhere. Don't know where, but it'll be in here somewhere. So it would sit on that block and be screwed through. And that beveled chamfered band there would sit through and be through the bottom there. Now the reason for that is for starting the thing. You'll notice this doesn't have any kind of a pull start system. Back in the day, most nitro cars didn't have that. And usually to start them, you would have this situation here. You'd have like a motor with something to drive that, and you would rev it up, have this sat on blocks, have the car sat on blocks like so, stick the starter underneath, screaming at high speed, and then it would turn that over, and eventually it would fire and off it would go. So that was what that was for. That's what that was designed to do. Let's have a look at the instructions, shall we? Well, not exactly up to Tammy's level, are they? You see, we've got an exploded view here. Make sure you can see all of that. So we've got an exploded view of the rear gearbox, and you can see there, you can hardly even call it a gearbox because it doesn't look to me to have a differential per se. And then we've got an exploded view of the front suspension, how it all goes in together there, and then we've got the engine clutch system there. So you see, look, this is a centrifugal clutch, so it would be, the clutch would be off when the engine's not moving, and then that would be spun up, and gradually that clutch would, by centrifugal forces, be pushed out, so it would start to grab hold of that cylinder that was there, and then inject the power through, and off it would go. Then when it slowed down again, so once the engine was fired, that centrifugal clutch would keep going. Once it slowed down enough that you want the engine to run but the car not to, it would slow down, those plates would come off, and then it would just stop. So the engine would be able to turn over, keep running, with the car not moving. So a very easy and simple way to keep things as useful and easy in the real world when you just want your car to sit there running without actually moving anywhere. So what have we got here? We have got, we've got some instructions. That does look like fun. So after X, do Y, and then do Z, and drill this and cut that. So there are no actual step-by-step blown up instructions. It's literally some words, sentences put together to tell you what to do, and then an exploded view here. Basic stuff, but you know, you get what you pay for, don't you? This is the cheapest nitro car on the market at the time by a good stretch. As an absolutely kick-ass car to have, because it went like a scalded rocket with somewhere to go pretty quick. I so wanted one, but I'm not going to waste your time explaining how much I wanted one of these. I happened to see it on eBay, and it was less than 100 quid. Nobody wanted it, nobody's interested. Right, on it. And I just love it. It's just great to have something like this. There's not much more for me to say about this. I've shown you the entire kit as much as I can. I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to ask any questions. If you want any photographs or zoomed in photographs of any of this stuff, just post it on this release in YouTube. Ask make comments. Yeah, I want to get this off the ground, this channel, and I want to start doing more of these with some other kits that I've got knocking around. So please make comments as well. Anything you'd like to see done differently, or any more information that you'd like, I'm there. So thank you very much for listening. I hope it's been fascinating and of interest to all you guys. I will look forward to talking to you another time. Cheerio.